the Tourism AI podcast, where we talk about all things at the intersection of tourism and artificial intelligence. Today, we are joined by Carly Brkich, who is the Destination Marketing Manager at Tourism Chilliwack, one of our favorite people in the world. So, thank you, Carly, for joining us.
Hello, hello. You're one of our favorite people in the world, so thank you for having me.
That's nice. Thank you. So I thought we'd bring Carly on for a couple different reasons. Number one, we've been through a process with Carly and her team around AI adoption. So I want to kind of actually just sort of touch base with her as to kind of obviously when we do AI adoption with teams, that's really just a starting point, and then really the teams kind of take things from there. So I'd love to just chat with you, Carly, about, one, why don't we start off with a little bit about, I guess, sort of the process that we started together, and how that process kind of where that process has taken your team, and how that's kind of changed your workflows.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a very simple answer, it's revolutionized everything that we've ever done. I come from a background where I had like a little bit of knowledge about ChatGPT, but when I came into Tourism Chilliwack, everybody else was very skeptical about AI and the world of you know, artificial intelligence. And so Allison saw, who was our executive director, saw Peter speak and was just absolutely floored and was like, we need to work with this guy. I loved everything he does. Yeah, we signed on with you probably May. And yeah, just started with like very much the foundation. We really kind of honed it into the marketing team before we went bigger with the rest of our group. But I mean, we have learned everything from like custom GPTs to Notebook LM and like how that they can play a role in making our team appear bigger than it actually is because we are a very small team. But I mean, now we're working on a spring campaign and I have a custom GPT that's like my little sidekick that I ask it a million questions. And, we use it to help with, ads copy and social media copy. And we honestly use it every single day, like sun up to sundown. It's just like a new tool that we have that we just will always use.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I want to ask you the question because I probably know the answer, but so I want to ask you the question around, obviously a lot of people are really like worried about job loss and sort of disruption. And, I think for me, when I think about the tourism industry specifically, I think we have the opposite problem where there's not enough people, there's too much work, you know what I mean? Like, so are you concerned about sort of these tools coming in and sort of taking over your job, or you think that this is actually an enablement tool
No,
for?
honestly, this AI is just another tool in my toolbox. We still, I think specifically in tourism, we still need the people to run the DMO. We still need people who know their community better than anybody else, and no robot on planet Earth is ever going to beat that. And, with visitor services, which is already in and of itself a bit of a dying, we are so lucky here that we still have an all year visitor center. We still have someone who's on staff every day who is available to chat with people. And so, for her, I know that there was a little bit of a concern of, oh, what if we get a chatbot and it's going to take over? And it's like, no, no, no. It's another tool for you. It's another resource. And yeah, I think in our office, we just see it as another tool in our toolbox.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think for a lot of DMOs, especially smaller, medium-sized DMOs, like it's like there's not enough people and time to do the work already, right? And like never mind the value work, the high value work. I think that's like if it could take away some of the sort of more mundane parts of things, it can actually free you up, hopefully, to do more high value work. And so tell me a little bit about, obviously, you guys said you're using it for marketing. Have you guys started to go beyond marketing?
A little bit. It's a little bit of a slow crawl,
Yeah.
but our HR manager, office manager did use it the other day. She came like barreling into my office. She was so excited. She used it for like a contract she was working on. But yeah, we're slowly starting to kind of expand it across the teams. Our operations manager for a facility that we run is also using it for contracts and things. So we're getting there. Maybe not as much as the marketing team uses it, but definitely I was a little worried about getting everybody else to sign on to it, but I think we've convinced them. So they're working on
Yeah. Yeah, and it like sort of takes you need a tip on the spear, right? And you need to sort of you need somebody to lead. And I think honestly, marketing is probably a natural place. Marketing communications, like at the end of the day, these are language models and communications tools. So that probably makes sense, right? As in terms of the starting point. Tell me a little bit about, so obviously when we went through the AI adoption framework process for you guys, we put together a giant document. That was a lot. So sorry, but AI is a lot. But part of that document included some responsible AI use policies and principles. And I'm just curious about sort of, how do you guys approach that piece of things? Have you kind of done anything with those principles and policies?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I think we never even thought of when we were adopting AI, but it makes total sense. And so having that like framework of how we even approached that conversation was really helpful. We brought it to our board level. And so they have record of, kind of the policies and procedures. We don't have an official AI committee at this exact moment. We sort of have a few people on our team and on our board who understand the world of AI, understand kind of the nuances of it and things to be cautious about. And so we kind of consult with them. But yeah, I mean, we've taken kind of the baseline safety policy kind of recommendations and really just make sure that when we are signing on with, uh, AI bot that goes into our Zoom, we're making sure that we've read through the fine print and it's, aligning with all the things that Tourism Chilliwack aligns with. And we're not just signing up willy nilly because there's a million AI things these days. But yeah, it's just sort of making sure we're crossing all of our T's, dotting all of our I's, and yeah, making sure everything is hunky dory.
Yeah, nice. Curious about, so obviously you guys are pretty heavy into the chat GPT and the custom GPTs and some of the tools. Yeah, which is amazing. Have you guys, it's funny because the technology's evolved so much. So there's actually projects in there. Have you played with those yet?
Ooh, possibly. I don't actually
We'll
know.
have to, we'll have to spend some time.
Is that when it like spits something out and then it puts it into a document for you?
No, no. So I'll show you. Let's
Ooh,
spend
more
some
things
time
to
after
learn.
this. So there's new features and new goodies in there. Yeah.
So
So
excited.
yeah. But yeah, no, it's crazy. It's evolving, right? And so I mean, I think that's one of the things when it comes to AI adoption is like kind of a need for constant retraining or upskilling or sort of staying on top of stuff. And yeah, are you the person in the office that geeks out on all the new and cool?
You know what? Sometimes, and then other times, like there's things like you just say, like I don't even know about. So I just like efficiency. I think that's my like nerd out, and if there is something that can make our lives more efficient, sign me up. I want to know more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. No, let's spend a little bit of time after this recording. I'll show you a couple new things because the tools are really moving fast. Yeah. Are there any other tools that you're using outside of ChatGPT currently in your workflows?
We are using, or I know Allison's using Notebook LM. We kind of are like dabbling our toe in that a little bit. It's been so super duper crazy busy. So we haven't really had the time to like really sit down and really kind of train. We also have a new team member who just started a week ago. So we're like knee deep in training her. But yeah, I think ChatGPT is kind of our bread and butter right now. I do want to personally explore Notebook LM because I know it will be super beneficial for the marketing side. I know it's already been
Mhm.
beneficial for Allison on kind of like the executive director, more like logistical side of things. And then, yeah, outside of that, I mean, we have like a little AI bot that comes into our Zoom meetings and transcribes everything. We use some like, I don't even know what tool they use. It's like a video something tool. We didn't have like footage of birds because we're promoting birding for spring. So I was like, okay, find some like AI thing and it probably has birds and it did and it looks great.
Nice.
So we're kind of all dabbling like our in our own different things and again always making sure it goes back to like making sure the policies and everything is okay and yeah, so we all kind of have our own tools.
That's amazing. Yeah. Allison's kind of an interesting story for me because I feel like I went through this process with you guys and then she sort of just hadn't really kind of put the like she just was busy, right? And I think this is a pretty typical story of a lot of DMO leaders where they're busy just with people. And DMO leaders aren't necessarily people who spend all their days on a computer all day every day like, you and I do, right? And so yeah, and so I feel like that was a big aha moment for me. And then so just for context for everybody on this call, then I sort of spent some time with Allison one on one doing what we call an intuition sprint, and I feel like now she's like all in, eh? She's like,
She like screamed from the rooftops. She would like got everybody to come into her office and was like, "Look at what Peter just taught me. We just learned this notebook LM. My life is changed." And it was yeah, it was pretty crazy to watch. She was so excited.
yeah, but that's like actually like really like I've noticed that that's been a real. I'd be curious from your perspective now that you have a leader that's sort of all in on it and really excited about it. Has that changed the conversation around AI adoption in the organization?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think And I think you spoke about it, but you can't have AI in your organization if the leader isn't willing to, not necessarily willing to, but hasn't necessarily dove right in as well. And so
Mhm.
now that she's kind of on board and seen the power of it, she was the one that suggested to our office manager to try using ChatGPT, right? So she's like, she now sees the power of it and is now more confident to recommend it as a tool to other people in the office.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really cool to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I think that's the big, for me, the big aha moment in the last couple months is like the leaders, when the leaders have spend time on tools and understand intuitively the power, then they can help, then they know where it applies and how and where it fits and how to apply it. And again, to your point, then they can be sort of more vocal champions, right? So, that's been a big kind of lesson for me. So, no, and it's been so thank you guys. Thank you, Tourism Chilliwack, for coming down this journey with me and like, helping me to learn these lessons. It's been awesome. Tell me a little bit about your kind of approach to like learning about these things. Are you listening to podcasts at all? Are you doing anything beyond just sort of using tools? Tell me a little bit about what happens in
Honestly,
Carly's.
I learned on TikTok. That's so bad. I am not a podcast person as I'm sitting on a podcast with you.
Right.
But I'm like such a visual person. I need to like watch a video. I need to try it myself. So I'll like just look up something on TikTok and it's like someone walking through how to use a tool. And then that's kind of how I'm like, okay, I can visually see how it's being used and what, you know, situations they're using that tool. And then I'll kind of go and research it a little bit more. But yeah, I know for like my partner, like he is a podcast person. So he learns everything through podcasts. That's just not who I am. I like a video. So yeah, I'm a TikTok girl.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And I think it's an important, I actually say this to people all the time, but like, you need to figure out what works for you, right? And like, so, it's the same with marketing, by the way. We can have a whole conversation around marketing related to this, but like, when we advise clients around marketing, if somebody's like, I hate being on video, well, obviously I'm not going to like, hey, you should be on video, right? It's like, but podcasting is a good example. People, it's different. Like and it's a podcast, even though they're like doing a video, they're like it's talking and it's not video, and they're fine with that, right? Or maybe not, and then maybe it's written or whatever. So it's like always find the medium that sort of works for you, right? I think that's just a good truism, no matter what, right?
Honestly, I chat GPT like a different tool. I was looking for like a CRM system because we needed something. And I was like, I'll just ask ChatGPT. It probably has an answer. And it did. And it was great. And it was like, spent rather than spending all day searching for this cool new AI tool.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's amazing. How about marketing? Are you kind of thinking about, are you guys thinking about as a team, sort of the impact of AI on marketing, on SEO, on some of the things? Have you guys started to have those conversations internally?
Yes and no. Our SEO, like we write all our blogs with AI. And so we, in our like custom GPT, have instructed it to kind of really prioritize specific SEO as it relates to what the blog is in our organization. And so, I mean, we use it in that aspect. In the greater realm of the marketing that we do, we're still very much hands on. And so there hasn't really been any instances where we had to preface that the entire campaign or whatever was like made by AI, or we just more so use it as like a planning tool, a copy tool. Mm. But I think that we still spend so much time tweaking things, tweaking copy, tweaking SEO, tweaking kind of what it spits out that it hasn't necessarily changed what we do. It's just changed how we do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. No, and you're 100%. It's like, you know, I hear people being like, "Oh, well, using AI is cheating," and it's like, well, no, you have to spend time creating custom GPTs, setting it up, developing it. It's actually a lot more work until it's less work, right? Like, and I think that's an important lesson I try to tell people all the time. It's like, yeah, unfortunately, it's going to take more time to set it up, but hopefully, it's the last time you have to set it up. Or
I was totally that person. Like, I think I made one custom GPT and was like running off of that for months because I knew I had to make a GPT to make my life easier, but I was too busy to do it. And
right.
then, yeah, then I had it like a free day and I just made like six GPTs and now my life is instantly better. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, nice. How about like marketing more broadly though? Or like are you like obviously like you mentioned you go to ChatGPT now for everything and so like your Google behavior has changed and like are you starting to think or is your team thinking about that at all or is that obviously destinations are a little bit different from like other types of companies but is that a conversation you guys are starting to have at all or thinking about?
not yet. I think it's definitely going to be coming. I know before this we were chatting about like an AI bot on our website and just like how people interact with things. And I think, at least from what I've seen on our like Google Analytics and stuff, like people are still Googling things to do in Chilliwack, Googling, the business that they want to go to. We haven't really seen a downturn in that activity. And so I think people are still inherently going to Google, going to those like native search engines. For me, it's not my first instinct to go to ChatGPT and ask it a question. I instinctively want to open up the Google on my phone or my computer and ask it the question. But then I'm like, oh, I have all this training, I have all this knowledge. Let me ask ChatGPT, this other tool that I know will get the answer for me faster. So I know it's
Right.
coming for our
Yeah.
organization. And I think with a chat bot maybe on our site, that we'll start to see a little bit of a change. But currently things are staying pretty status quo as they have been before.
Yeah, and I can tell you, like we've adopted the ability to measure whether traffic to websites is coming from ChatGPT and other chatbots. So we now have that in our analytics and reporting for our clients, and it's still pretty small at the end of the day. It's still a pretty small percentage, and well, the challenge is a little bit is that we don't necessarily see that traffic because they just get the answer and they're not going to go to a website, right? So it's a bit of a challenge as well. So, but it's an evolving space, right? It's a space I'm like obsessed about because like obviously it's my business and is what we do. But I think that, I just think about, and this is just, my advice to you and my advice to everybody listening is that, as we think about really creating content in this new world, we need to start thinking multimodal and we need to start thinking about content that AI can't easily reproduce, right? So we're in this world now where it's like, yes, I can write 1,000 blogs about a topic with AI, but like that's actually not really gonna like be very good. Like it's garbage content, right? And so like, quality content, longer form content, certainly multimodal content, adding pictures, adding infographics, adding video, like, full disclosure, the reason we do these Riverside, we basically are content marketing for our own agency now, and for Tourism AI Network is actually all video first, and then turning these conversations, human to human kind of interactions into blogs, into shorts, into socials, into whatever, right? One, it's an easy workflow. So, just that's just sort of my advice as you're thinking about sort of marketing in the future. Really, it's, think about marketing that AI can't easily reproduce, and then think about when we're in this world where all of a sudden robots are everywhere doing everything. Like humans fundamentally want to listen and hear and listen to humans, right? So sort of authentically human content, right? But it's kind of interesting because it actually still follows like Google's EAT framework, and all of the sort of best practices of SEO. Actually, nothing's really changed, even though everything's changed, right?
Yeah, totally.
So tell me a little bit about, I guess, kind of if is there anything that you're thinking about with respect to, oh, I wish I could do this, or there's some tools that I'd like to explore that might be able to help me with this or that. Is there any sort of directionally, maybe not specific tools, but directionally tools that are on your mind?
Totally. I think we have really mastered like using ChatGPT or just AI in general for like all of our outputs of things. For myself as the marketing manager of the team, like I'm managing our budget and answering a million emails a day and, writing reports or referencing reports. And so I think the next step, at least in my role, I would love to like find a tool or a series of tools that can like help me do my business credit card rec way faster, help me write a report way faster, skim my emails and give me like the Coles notes of like, answer these ones first, these ones are fine, and these ones are spam, just kind of those like more task oriented, you know, things that I'm doing every single day that I haven't found a tool just yet to help me with. Yeah, that's probably the next like phase of where I would love for us to go.
I love that, yeah. And those tools do exist. So I will let you know because we're just like working through a whole series of tools that we can start to now introduce to people that kind of do some of those things. And there's really a lot of evolution in the kind of main language model space, actually, like ChatGPT or Claude's Anthropic. Claude just released it's called an MCP, which is sort of a technology that allows basically the AI to connect to other tools and like do computer use and sort of do things for you, which is really cool. So, anyways, we're just literally it's the newest hottest thing, and we're just playing around with it. The other thing I just started playing around with that I would maybe put your attention to, which is super fun. This is like on the fun side, but also really cool. Is there's a new technique called vibe coding. I don't know if you've heard of vibe coding, but so basically vibe coding, there's tools like I've only tried it with a tool called Bolt. And the idea basically is you can literally like prompt, like tell it what you want to build and it'll build you an app. It'll like code you an app. And then and then you like test the app and you're like, yeah, it's okay. Make it better like this. And then it'll like make it better. And then you test it again and you go back and forth. That's why I call it vibe coding because you're just like vibing with it and like going back and forth. So I literally, I'm not joking you, Carly. Like I was at the Kelowna airport last week coming back, and my flight was like 6 hours delayed. I didn't have my laptop with me. I only had my cell phone, and I was like, well, I got time. I'm gonna try this vibe coding thing. I built an app on my phone while I was in the airport.
Wow, like to do whatever you want it to do.
Like so, the app I built was basically it would like ask, it was designed for tourism professionals, and it would ask them like, 5 or 6 questions about where they're at in their technology journey, their AI journey, and then it would develop like a custom AI roadmap, like a high level roadmap. And then at the end, when you like scroll down to the end of the roadmap, like a pop-up comes up and it asks for an email and says, hey, if you'd like a copy of this roadmap, give me your email address and we'll send it to you. And then it sends it.
My
It's
mind is
amazing.
blown.
I
Wow,
know.
that is
It's
such
like
a
so
cool.
fun.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have like
super
a million
cool.
more apps the next time we chat. I'll just have
Right?
I'll have to have like 5 phones for all my fun apps. That's so cool.
Right. So yeah, that is kind of the next frontier. Like I think of like just like we're getting into this place now where all of a sudden, literally, like anybody can think anything to existence, which is pretty amazing, right? So, and I'm not a developer. I'm not a really that even that technical, and I was able to do it
Yeah,
with my browser.
it just goes to show that like AI isn't for the brainiacs in the room, not me, not a brainiac. So like if like you can do that, anybody can do that. You know what I mean?
Totally,
It just shows the
totally.
power of yeah, of just
Yeah.
how incredible it is.
Just not enough time to play with all the gadgets and the tools, right? I just got my Samsung. I just got my new. Christina just gave this to me. It just came in the mail. I'm going to show everybody my new Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra. Super cool. I got my new Samsung phone. So, Carly, you know what my new Samsung phone does? I literally can take a picture and I can like circle something and say delete, and it'll delete it.
It's
And
on
it's
your
perfect.
Instagram story yesterday, wasn't it?
You saw that, yeah? Yeah.
Really
I'm
cool.
amazed by it. It's
I
super
will
cool,
say,
right?
I have the new iPhone 16 Pro, whatever, and it supposedly has the same feature. It doesn't work as good as your little demo
Really?
yesterday did. Yeah, no,
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's just sort of like I think kind of the reason I'm raising all these different things is like AI is becoming more and more accessible, and like honestly, the power is just sort of like we're getting to this place if you could just imagine it and think through it a little bit of technical abilities, not much. You can kind of make things happen, right? So it's like a whole new world. I mean, it's going to have an impact, no question, on jobs and the way we do stuff. But I think we can be afraid of it or we can be excited about it. And I think again for small and medium-sized destinations, probably all destinations and probably every tourism operator in the world, it's like, okay, finally maybe we can actually have some tools that can help us so that we can actually like put our humans to better use, right?
totally. And I always heard like AI referred to as like the calculator of whenever calculators came out. But
Hmm.
like everyone was so appalled that mathematicians were using calculators, and now we have them on our watches. And like
Right? Yeah,
eventually AI's like if you're not on board now or yet, get on board because it's eventually going to be like a calculator, and then you'll be the one that doesn't know how to use the calculator.
exactly. There you go. Nice. Well, with those wise words, Carly, maybe we'll say thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time. Awesome. I'm gonna hit stop.